The expression justice delayed is justice denied has almost become a cliche, but this case is a living example of that. By the time of Bloody Sunday, Soldier F was on a second tour of Northern Ireland. He had been promoted and knew he was licensed to use whatever violence he liked. He was specially protected by an unlawful agreement between the British Army and the RUC signed off at the highest level. This agreement was in response to local and international concern about the growing numbers of incidents in which unarmed civilians were being shot dead with increasing regularity by the British Army and how the police should be reacting. The RUC consciously abdicated its role in favour of the military, allowing the British Army to act with impunity as long as lip service was given to the provisions of the Yellow Card. In the aftermath of every lethal force incident, soldiers would be interviewed internally by the British Army's Royal Military Police, who were inherently sympathetic to the soldiers and not under criminal caution or with a lawyer present. Not for the purpose of investigating criminality, but for managerial purposes only. The contents of statements would follow the Yellow Card formula that aimed shots were fired only at gunmen, nail or petrol bombers who were in the course of an attack. Not a single soldier would face criminal inquiry, arrest, interview under caution, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, who could have insisted and directed police to speak to the military as suspects, turned a blind eye to the entire process, directing no prosecution in relation to each and every file submitted to it. This agreement was still serving its purpose as recently as when the murder case against paratroopers A and C, who were charged with the murder of the unarmed Joe McCann of the official IRA leader who was shot in the back in the Markets area, collapsed in Belfast Crown Court in 2021. Soldier F too has benefited greatly from this agreement. None of his RMP statements are admissible to this court, as is the case with his Treasury Solicitor's statement when he radically rearranged his 13 shots and belatedly admitted killing another 4 victims because his bullet was found in Michael Kelly's spine. As with his sworn oral evidence to Widgery and to the Bloody Sunday inquiry, when he then claimed to know he fired his weapon that day, but he claimed not to recall when, where or why he fired it. Many key witnesses to his behaviour and brutality have passed away. The forensic evidence is gone, including the bullet that killed Michael Kelly, which was lost, his rifle, which was sold off by the Ministry of Defence at the commencement of the Savile inquiry. He faces a sliver of the evidence that once was available and stands trial only for his victims within Glenfarra Park, and is charged with murdering less than half of the men and boys he killed. Nonetheless, this case is as close to accountability as we have been able to achieve. He is a group of former soldiers spreading lies and misinformation to the media on his behalf. They peddle and promote an untruth that he is persecuted, when in fact he is the most protected defendant ever in British or Irish legal history to stand trial for multiple murder. His name has been in the public domain and printed in the press since February 1972. Not an adult in Derry would not know his name. He was mentioned in dispatches by his own name on the 4th of February 1972, along with his Commander General Frank Kitchen, for, quote, gallantry in the face of the enemy in the internment swoops in Belfast. The people of Ireland refer to those days by another name, the Ballymurphy Massacre. He enjoys a unique, inherently unnecessary and entirely disproportionate level of protection. Special measures that are normally only given to vulnerable victims of violent crime have been bestowed upon one of its worst perpetrators, and these special measures have been enhanced from when he last gave evidence about Bloody Sunday in 2003. At the Savile inquiry, he appeared before hundreds of the relatives that he bereaved, and the young men that he attempted to murder with only his surname anonymised and entirely unscreened and in person for 2 full days. Now he has complete anonymity in relation to his full name, and over the course of this trial, and in the unlikely event that he gives evidence, he will do so behind a heavy blue curtain, a coward's curtain. Not even paratroopers A and C, whose identities were not in the public domain, were afforded these comforts, and they stood trial in the view of the public and the victim's family. The Bloody Sunday families come here with a simple demand: that the Public Prosecution Service successfully complete the job that we started, and that the court shows moral courage and integrity in convicting this defendant in respect to the charges before it. Thank you.